surface is not storage. What to do with your trash? I know you can't wait for me to explain to you what this is. In today's video, I wanted to show you how I organize my kitchen. I'm not a professional organizer, but I moved so many times in my life, probably between 20 and 30 times. And I don't know, for whatever reason, organizing kitchen cabinets is a huge topic for me. So I kind of watched all of the videos on the topic that there is on YouTube. And I kind of feel like I combined all of the best tips that I found to really create the most functional space possible in my kitchen. I also have a very limited space here, so having a very organized kitchen when you're lacking storage and where you're lacking space is really essential if you want to be able to cook and use your kitchen as best as you can. You really need to organize everything in the best possible way. I'm first going to go through a few tips that I've learned combining all of my different apartments that I've lived in and all of my experiences and all of the videos I found on the topic. And speaking of which, McKenna from Exo McKenna has a video that she just put up after her kitchen renovation where she organizes her cabinets. So I thought that it was probably the best time now to post my own video on the topic. So after I've given you a few tips, I will just show you how everything is organized inside of my own cabinets. And I'd be curious to know which tip is your favorite. The first tip is that surface is not storage. So what that means is that your counter space is a surface for you to prep food and really use it, but it's not meant for storage. The cabinets are and the shelves are, but not your counter space and not your table. Especially if you have limited counter space, you really want to keep them decluttered so that whenever you need to use the counter space to do whatever it is, move things around the cabinets, putting some food on the kitchen counter, cutting vegetables, whatever it is, it'll be free of clutter and you can use it immediately. So that really is the first trick, is to make sure that your surfaces are free of clutter. Surface is not storage. The second tip is to think about the kind of storage that you have. You basically, in my opinion, really have two storage kinds: what you can see and what you cannot see. So in some kitchens, depending on the layout, you'll have open shelving, or you'll add maybe additional shelves, floating shelves, or you'll just put up your own shelves, which is what I did in my kitchen. If you have open shelving, it means that whatever it is that you're going to store is going to be visible, and you might not want to see your pantry items also, because pantry items on open shelving might potentially get a lot of sunlight. You definitely don't want your pantry items to be exposed to sunlight, or it could be like ugly but very utilitarian items you have for your cooking or your baking, but that you don't want on display. You have to think about whether or not it's an open storage or a out of sight storage, like closed cabinets. Based on that, to just put the best things that you want on display, to put them on open storage. The best way to position your items inside of the cabinets is to think about what the items are, what category it is, and to literally just put them closer to where they're going to be used. Literally, pots and pans and oven dishes, these should go right next to the oven and right next to the stove, because that's where you're going to use the pots and pans, that's where you're going to use the oven dishes. So really, you just want them close to the oven. It might seem obvious, but I helped a few of my relatives and friends reorganize their kitchen, and that's not necessarily how they had it organized. And I can tell you it wasn't working really well. Whatever you're going to use with your coffee machine and with your kettle, you want close to the coffee machine and close to the kettle. Which brings me to another point, is that I know I did say that surface is not storage, but I would argue that an appliance that you're going to use every single day or multiple times a week should go on your counter. It should be accessible. You're not gonna take it in and out of a cabinet every day or multiple times a week. I'd say that's where I draw the line personally. So the appliances that I use less than once a week, they're inside of a cabinet. The appliances that I use every day or a few times a week, these are available. They're accessible, they're plugged in, and I don't need to take them out to use them. I don't need to plug them to the wall to use them. They're just ready to go. Going back to the item categories, it will be best to store food items as far away as possible from heat sources. You want to make sure that it is in a dark space, so a closed cabinet. You want to avoid putting your pantry next to the dishwasher that will be warm and humid, next to the fridge because the back of the fridge can also get warm. Definitely not next to the oven and the stovetop. Again, it's going to be obviously hot. So you want your pantry items as far away as possible. What about the items that are not kitchen related but still in the kitchen? For instance, the cleaning supplies. I store my cleaning supplies inside of one of my kitchen cabinets, and I chose the top of the fridge because I don't necessarily reach for it every single day. Actually, maybe I do. I think I reach for it a few times a week. I find that it just is a convenient spot for it. The problem with keeping your cleaning supplies at a lower level is that it's potentially dangerous if you have kids around the house. So above the fridge is actually really super safe, even though there's no children in this house. What to do with your trash? Okay, trash is a huge topic. In fact, my friends tend to call me the trash lady, which fair enough, but I am very mindful of my trash and how I organize it and how I sort through all of the items I want to dispose of to make sure that they go in the right bin and the right stream. So maybe I'll make a dedicated video on that, but basically my recommendation is to avoid having a trash bin in the middle of your kitchen. The most common thing that I see is people having their bin literally right next to their kitchen island, on display almost, and it comes from a functional concern to have it really available because literally you use the trash bin multiple times a day, so that's why people put it in the middle of the kitchen. So I get why that is, but I think there's a better way. My recommendation is to simply put your bin and your recycling bins under the kitchen sink. It is hidden, out of sight, but extremely easy to access. Here is the trick or the caveat. Whether it's under your sink with the cabinet door closed or whether it's your trash bin with the lid closed, it will smell either way. If you compost, one of the best advantages, functionally speaking, is that you remove all of the weird, bad smells out of your trash bin. Obviously, all of the biodegradables, that's what smells, right? So if that's out of your trash bin, then the trash bin is also not going to smell. The compost should be stored in the fridge and the freezer, and then you dispose of it according to whatever the regulation is where you're located. The recycling bins are never going to smell because they only collect, if you do recycling properly, rinsed cans and plastic containers, so that doesn't smell. Glass, it doesn't smell. And paper, cardboard, also it doesn't smell. So it's really not a problem to have them enclosed under your sink. By enclosed, I mean just the cabinet doors closed, right? That really allows for a very clean, I would say, trash section, hidden away, out of sight. No one wants to see a trash in the middle of a room. So let me know where your trash is in your kitchen. I'm actually really curious. Let me know if you completely disagree with me and you think it doesn't matter at all. I am now going to show you the inside of my cabinets. I think I'm just going to go through each and every single one of them, and I'm also going to show you the open shelving and the coffee bar section that I created. I actually posted a video on my living room makeover, and I do go into further detail about the coffee bar if you want to check it out. This here is basically my tiny teeny kitchen island. I definitely do all of my prep work for cutting fruit and vegetable on this kitchen island. Here I put all of my dishware, my bowls, plates, small plates, soup plates and regular plates. I chose to put it here because it is open storage. My dishware is one of the prettiest things I have to store in my kitchen, so my dishware is on display and my glasses are on display as well. One little thing to note is that I typically access the dishware from this side here, and so whatever I use most often I have here on this side. Currently I mostly use the smaller pieces of dishware because they are the only ones that fit in my dishwasher. It is a portable dishwasher and I will get to it in a minute when we get to what I have on my kitchen counter, but that is why these are on this side. I hope you like these shelves. So this one here is literally just for display. I barely ever use my cookbooks. It's too bad because they're really pretty. I enjoy cooking for my loved ones, but when it's just me, I will not put a lot of time and effort into cooking. So these are not used very frequently. They're here on display. There are pretty items. Half of it is French. Okay, 3 books are in English and the rest is in French. These pretty pasta containers are actually for display only, so I am not planning on ever cooking these, which is why I just have them up here. And the other side is used every day. It's just my glass collection. I chose this shelf because it's more accessible than the other one that is up high, of course. It is a little further away from the rest of the kitchen as this is the opposite wall, the kitchen and the kitchen counter and the backsplash and everything that I redid that you can also check out in my living room makeover. All of that is right behind you. So it's a little bit further away, but honestly, it's still a small space. It's very easy to put the glasses back on the shelf. Let's turn around and take a look at the cabinets. I am just going to show you all of the cabinets from left to right. Here on the left side is the pantry. Here at the bottom is all of the spices. Obviously, it's right next to the stove. It is used every single day, of course, the spice rack, so that's why it's right here. The middle shelf is what I use frequently, and the top shelf what I use less frequently. These bins are very easy to grab, even the ones on the top shelf. Some additional pantry items that I use even less frequently are stored here on top of the microwave. The first shelf on top of the sink has my food containers. I definitely use them very frequently to store away any leftovers. I don't like to use plastic wrap or aluminum foil or any of the disposable single-use items that you can use to store food. So I like to use reusable items. These containers are glass with a plastic lid. They are very convenient. I've got different sizes, which allows me to store all of my leftovers based on how much I have. I just throw them in the dishwasher and they are good to go. So that's my preferred method to store my leftovers. Right next to the food containers, I have my oven mitts because the oven is right here. The middle shelf has all of the colanders, salad cleaner because these items are used in the sink, so they're close to the sink. And I've also got my extra rags folded in there, so whenever my rag gets too dirty, I can super easily and quickly replace it with a new clean rag. The top shelf has items that I really rarely use. That's why it's all the way up here. This is the only stone counter space I have available. I just have my utensils on a pot. I usually have the matching spoon rest next to it, but right now it is in the wash. And these two, I think it's olive wood. I would use them to serve like a charcuterie board, but I wouldn't use them to actually cut my food. They also are placed here because there is an outlet on the wall that I wanted hidden because it's not really pretty to look at. I will mention that I am really not a fan of gas stovetop and gas oven. It is very hard to clean. You have to remove all of the pieces. I actually deep cleaned this oven and this stove last week, and it was honestly very annoying. I actually had to do it over the course of 2 days, let the product sit. It was a lot. So first reason why I don't like it is that it's very hard to clean. The second reason is that the gas stove and gas oven, it's not the best for your air quality inside of your apartment. I am in Brooklyn, and obviously it is very polluted. There are a lot of cars, a lot of traffic, a lot of honking, a lot of everything in the city, and I know it's not going to make that big a difference. It would be better if I lived in the middle of the countryside, but I don't. So I'm trying to really maximize the air quality of my apartment as much as I can. So the stove being gas is not ideal, and I also don't burn candles because I don't like to have this artificial scent or something burning. Candles are just gonna lower your air quality as well. So these two things I like to avoid if I can. The portable dishwasher. I know you can't wait for me to explain to you what this dishwasher is or what this thing is. So this kitchen did not have a dishwasher. I was trying to see if an actual full-size dishwasher would fit in the space, but it was just not gonna fit. It was not gonna work out. It was not possible. I'm not even mentioning that you need to change the plumbing to accommodate for the dishwasher. So I opted for this portable dishwasher. I think it was a great solution. I use it once a day. I decided to put it right here because it is right next to the sink. It is completely portable. There is no plumbing, no nothing. The way it works is that you have to refill the top of the dishwasher with water before each use. I just pull the faucet out and I'm able to fill the water tank because it's right next to it. The gray water comes out from this hose directly into the sink. Again, no plumbing, it just works really well. You could, depending on your faucet, connect the faucet to the dishwasher. If you have a faucet that you can pull out, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to connect this kind of dishwasher. And I wanted my faucet to be a model you can pull. It's easy for cleaning and doing bigger dishes, so which is why I chose to just keep the current faucet. The downside of having this dishwasher here is that obviously it does take a lot of counter space. Basically now I don't have room to just air dry my dishes, the ones that don't fit in the dishwasher, because it is on the smaller side. I kind of had to come up with a solution to use this rack that I just put on the kitchen sink. It obviously takes all of the sink space, so that is not ideal. If you have another suggestion for where and how I could dry my bigger dishes that don't fit in the dishwasher, I will gladly take any suggestions, because this is the one system that doesn't really work for me at the moment. The other downside is that, and I just did mention it, is that it will only take smaller dishes, so a regular sized plate is not necessarily going to fit. So that is something to keep in mind. Obviously it would never work for if you have a large family. For one person, maybe two people, it's fine. For more than that, it's never going to replace a full-size dishwasher. But you know, it suits my needs. I got it from a friend for $100. She was moving out of an apartment right next to here. It was just a win. I think it was a good purchase. It's very convenient. It does save me a lot of time, so I don't have to hand wash all of my dishes. These items, I had them before. The color doesn't necessarily match the rest of the kitchen, but I think it's okay. Now looking at the bottom cabinets, right next to the stove, I've got, as I explained, my pots and pans. And actually it was kind of funny. It's at the end of the video. If you watched my best tips for a smooth move video, you'll recognize these pots that I almost forgot in my old place. So yeah, pots and pans here. I've got 2 drawers, so this is one of them. This has all of the silverware and some utensils, knives, and the cutting board is right here, so easy to grab. Under the sink, as I mentioned, is my trash system. A smart thing to do might be to have whatever guidelines you have where you live printed and have it right next to your recycling bin, so that way you can never get confused again about what is or is not recyclable. So that's what I did here, and New York City actually has a great website and great, very clear decals and guidelines that you can order for free, put them in your home very easily. These are peel and stick. Highly recommend using those if you live in the area. This is just my small trash bin. As you can see, it's super tiny. That's what I'm left with after I recycle and after I compost. Behind my trash is actually another bin that I use whenever I need to hand wash clothes. I forgot to mention that I like to hang my gloves here right under the sink for them to dry easily and for easy access. But these need to be replaced. They are filthy. Now this drawer here, it is sort of an organized junk drawer. Some more kitchen utensils or accessories, measuring cups, a brush to clean vegetables right next to the sink, and some random items. And here for the last clothes cabinet, I've got the drying rack that I showed you earlier, some trays, some more oven sheets that didn't fit. I actually could put them under the oven. Now I made some room. My compost bags are here. I've got my extra soda stream bottles that I'll show you in a minute, the soda stream. This here is critical. This is my step stool. I just use it every single day, I think, or whenever I need to access a top shelf, I will grab this and I'll be able to access all of the shelves in my kitchen. Finally, my coffee bar. Very pleased with the result and kind of proud of the new layout. I do recommend you watch the living room makeover if you're interested in how I put this together. Behind the coffee machine, I've got my soda stream. I think I refill my bottles maybe once a day, so it's nice to have it here. And under the coffee machine, I've got my toaster and my NutriBullet for smoothies. These I use a few times a week, depending. I actually need to take my supplements for my hair. This is not at all sponsored, so I keep them here to make sure I don't forget to take them every day. But you see, this morning I actually forgot, so I'm glad it's here. I noticed that a lot of you have been joining my channel recently, and I want to thank you so much for being here. I really hope that this inspired you to make the best out of your own space, out of your own kitchen. Having a functional space is really something that I care about. Rethinking your personal space and what is most functional for you is the key takeaway that I want you to take from this video. My advice worked for me, of course, but might not work for you, and that's totally fine. Fall is right around the corner. I'm thinking of making a fall closet clean out video. I know my previous closet clean outs have had a lot of views compared to my other videos, so I will definitely be doing another one of those. Please stay tuned. Don't forget to like this video and comment. It really helps me out. Thank you so much for your support. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.